This week on The Watchman, we're on the ground in Israel to investigate some of the world's greatest archaeological mysteries, the Stonehenge of Israel, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the location of the Ark of the Covenant.
The question is, when was it lost? And for that story, we have to go back some 2,700 years to the time of the biblical King Hezekiah.
From Jerusalem to the Jordan River to the Golan Heights, join us as we journey deep inside the ancient mysteries of the Holy Land and bring the Bible to life. Only right here on The Watchman. And welcome to The Watchman. Well, it's our 150th episode of The Watchman Show this week, and we are going to take you deep inside some of the world's greatest archaeological mysteries from Israel. One of them is the possible location of the Ark of the Covenant. Now, some say it's in Ethiopia. Others say that it's buried somewhere deep in the Judean desert. Still others say that the Ark is no longer with us, that it's been destroyed. Although, according to Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's in a warehouse somewhere in Washington, D.C. Now, I love Indiana Jones, but in all seriousness, what if the Ark of the Covenant never left Jerusalem? What if it's still there today? Our good friend, Zev Orenstein of the City of David, took us deep beneath God's holy city to explore that question further. Take a look. Well, Zev, it may be the greatest archaeological mystery in all of history, the location of the Ark of the Covenant. Indiana Jones found it, but in real life it has never been found. But the room where we are standing right now may hold some very important clues. Tell us about it.
So we're here again in the City of David, site of biblical Jerusalem. We are standing inside a cistern that would have held water dating back some 2,500 years. First Temple period, Jerusalem. Now, as you look around, you could see the scope of the cistern that we're in. It's enormous, right? Yeah. You could see behind us over here the plaster that would have covered the walls of the cistern that would ensure that the water would be captured.
And by the way, we are deep underground. Where we are is adjacent to the Western Wall and the Temple Mount. We're right next door to the Temple Mount.
That's right. And what's strange about this cistern is that the way a cistern works is the plaster must be on all of the walls to ensure that the water does not leak out. But when you look at this cistern, there is one wall that is not covered in plaster, which seems to be a bit strange. If you look over here, you can see that one wall just does not fit in.
It looks like it was almost hastily put together.
That's right.
Like a rush job.
That's right. And why would you have an enormous cistern that can't hold water? Because this is not plaster. This is different from all the other parts of the cistern. And as you mentioned, this wall is directly adjacent to the western wall of the Temple Mount. And one of the great mysteries for generations has been what happened to the Ark of the Covenant. The question is, when was it lost? And for that story, we have to go back some 2,700 years to the time of the biblical King Hezekiah.
The prophet Isaiah.
That's right, prophet Isaiah.
First temple, Solomon's temple.
There you go, right? Both of whose seals have recently been uncovered here in the area of the City of David and the Temple Mount. And so you have King Hezekiah, the prophet Isaiah. The kingdom of Israel has been exiled by the Assyrians, Sennacherib. And now Hezekiah is ruling the kingdom of Judah, and he knows that Jerusalem is next. The kingdom of Judah is next, and the Assyrians come to Jerusalem. and they surround the city.
And they were bloodthirsty. The Assyrians were fierce and brutal.
And they were undefeated. And they come to Jerusalem. And it says in archaeological antiquities discovered in ancient Assyria that they trapped Hezekiah like a bird in a cage. But the prophet Isaiah says, Hezekiah, don't worry. By the way the king of Sennacherib came, so shall he return. He will not enter Jerusalem. Not a single arrow will fall within the walls of Jerusalem. And the next morning, the entire Assyrian army is gone. So now what happens? An amazing salvation. And now Hezekiah's son, Manasseh, who was not like his father, he did not walk in the ways of the Lord. Biblical scholars believe the wicked King Manasseh, for his own reasons, prepares these subterranean hiding places around and beneath the Temple Mount.
Perhaps someplace like we're standing right now?
Absolutely. Biblical scholars believe it could be somewhere in this vicinity. Now, why is he so concerned about the Ark of the Covenant? It's not because he was a deeply religious person. He wasn't.
He was anything but.
Anything but. But he understood that the Ark of the Covenant, at least for him, represented a national treasure. Even though it wasn't a symbol of faith, it was still an extremely valuable national relic that he did not want to lose.
Yeah, no more powerful symbol for the Jewish people than the Ark of the Covenant.
That's right. And therefore, he has the same interest that perhaps the prophet Isaiah also does at the time when he prophesies that Jerusalem is going to fall, that he understood that at some point the temple treasures, the temple itself, it's not going to save Israel if they sin. And so Manasseh said, I'm going to come up with hiding places to hide away the Ark of the Covenant. A few generations go by, and now Josiah, the righteous King Josiah, is ruling. And he begins to see, so to speak, the writing on the wall. And he gets the feeling that it's time to hide away the Ark. And so what does he do? For one last time, there is a big national celebration of the Passover holiday. And so now we're reading from 2 Chronicles, chapter 35, verse 3. Where Josiah says to the Levites who are consecrated to the Lord, who taught all of Israel, put the holy ark in the house that Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, built, as you no longer carry it on your shoulders. See now to the service of the Lord your God and his people Israel. So seemingly, Josiah is telling the Levites, that's it. You're going to carry the ark one last time, and then you're going to hide it away for it to be saved for some future time.
Josiah maybe saw or felt the gathering storm on the horizon in the form of the Babylonians.
That's right. And now you might say, well, how do you know that the Babylonians, when they destroyed Jerusalem, how do you know that they didn't take the ark, that they didn't find the hiding place?
Yeah, King Nebuchadnezzar leveled this place, leveled the first temple.
That's right. And so we have a clue from the Bible, because the Bible tells us that when Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, destroys Jerusalem, it actually lists the treasures from Jerusalem that are taken out of Jerusalem and into Babylon. And among those treasures, one thing is missing, and that is the Ark of the Covenant.
It's conspicuous by its absence.
Absolutely. And so it would seem that the hiding place that perhaps King Manasseh prepared and that King Josiah made use of to hide away the Ark of the Covenant, it seems to have held, that it remained a secret. And so there are lots of mysteries. People say perhaps the ark is in Alexandria, Egypt, perhaps in Ethiopia. But one other prevalent theory is perhaps it's still in Jerusalem. Perhaps it never left. So here we are again, in an ancient cistern, dating back some 2,500 years to the first temple period of Jerusalem, standing here in the city of David, just adjacent to the western wall, to the Temple Mount. And we have this wall that just seems out of place.
It just doesn't fit.
That's right. A man-made wall.
Clearly.
Seemingly concealing something that directly on the other side would lead to that area of the Temple Mount.
Yeah, it feels like this was built to conceal something, and built quite hastily, judging by the construction work and the masonry there.
That's right. And so it could be, when we think back to the time of King Manasseh, and he wants to prepare the hiding places for the temple treasures, to the time of King Josiah, who makes that fateful decision to hide away the ark for what is now millennia. And maybe where we're standing right now was a part of that story.
I know people at home are probably thinking, okay, the wall's there, just knock it down and see what's behind there. You've excavated so much else here at the city of David, but kind of a political hot potato, right?
One of the significant aspects of Jerusalem, it's historically significant, it's religiously significant, it's politically significant, and in the Middle East, when you throw all those ingredients into the pot at the same time, it can be volatile. And therefore, the mystery of what has happened to the Ark of the Covenant, at least as far as this wall is concerned, we'll have to wait for some future time and another future episode perhaps of The Watchman. Until there is more tangible evidence, more solid archaeological proof of what may have happened to the Ark, what we're left with is speculation and theories and a lot of anticipation.
Thanks again to our good friend Zev Orenstein and the entire team at the City of David for taking us deep inside the mystery of the Ark of the Covenant. Well, up next, another archaeological puzzle as we take you to the site that's been called the Stonehenge of Israel. Folks, you will not want to miss this. Don't move.
From terrorists who would annihilate her with bombs and bullets, to so-called activists that would eliminate her with boycotts and sanctions, Israel's enemies are on the march. In Why Israel, you will learn how to be an active defender of the Jewish state, knowledgeable and powerful as you stand up for truth. You'll receive the biblical evidence proving Israel's special place in God's plan. Learn how His steadfast commitment to His people is a matter of fact, not opinion. From its miraculous rebirth as a modern state to the dangerous threats it presently faces, Israel's inspiring journey is laid out in this short booklet. Supporting Israel is a biblical mandate for all Christians. In Why Israel, you will discover why you should care about the Jewish state and what you can do to stand with God's chosen people.
And welcome back to The Watchman. Way up in Israel's Golan Heights, tucked deep away from the usual tourist traffic, lies one of the Holy Land's most fascinating and mysterious archaeological sites. It's been called the Stonehenge of Israel. Its name is Rujum el-Hiri. So what is it? Watchman correspondent Raj Nair joined our good friend Danny the Digger Herman to find out. Take a look.
You know, I've been all up and down this beautiful country of Israel, but where you and I are today has to be the most head-scratching location I've ever been to. So the question is, what is this? Or maybe more importantly, why is this? Well, with these questions, there's only one person to turn to. My man, Danny the Digger. How you doing, buddy?
Hello. Hi, Raj.
It's always great to have you.
Always a pleasure to be on the show.
So Danny, walk me through this. Where are we? What's going on? What are we looking at?
Well, first of all, we are on the top of the Golan Heights, an area that is an elevated plateau just east of the Sea of Galilee. The border with Syria is just around the corner there. It's right behind the hilltops. Wow. These antennas are intelligence units monitoring into Syria of the Israeli Defense Forces. And the Golan Heights, after the Six-Day War, was surveyed by several archaeologists, and so many interesting finds were made here. This one is one of the most intriguing ones. Rujum el-Hiri, the big pile of rocks of the wild cat. Okay, I don't know exactly what to make of that. And Israel decided to label it in Hebrew as Gilgal Rephaim. Now, Gilgal means a wheel, Galgal, but Gilgal in the Bible is a place where Joshua and the Israelites have settled after crossing the Jordan River and created a little cultic center there for the place of the tent of meeting.
Okay.
And that name for this site hints that this is also of religious nature. And the second word is Rephaim. Now, who is Rephaim? Rephaim is the biblical name for the giants. And this is the big mystery of this site. This site apparently relates or claims to relate to the biblical giant that roamed this land in Canaanite times. Now, if you remember when Moses is challenged by the people, why should we go to this land? What's over there? And he decides to send spies.
Yeah.
Okay, go to the promised land, report to us on what is there. And they returned reporting, oh my God, it's a land dripping of milk and honey, right? But then they also admit it's a land of mighty big fortified walls and giants.
These guys.
And apparently they were referring to something like this, or to people that created such megalithic structures. Some say it's Chalcolithic, some say no, maybe it's early bronze, but it's very, very old, it's prehistorical, and it especially is intriguing as it resembles a big circle of stones in England. Stonehenge.
Stonehenge.
This is the Stonehenge of the Promised Land, if you wish. Look at this. Wow. Let's go and take a closer look.
I'll follow you. You know, Danny, walking up this path, you couldn't really see much, but now standing on top of it, this is a massive, huge complex. So tell me about these circles. What do they mean?
Well, this is the outer circle that we're standing on. It is 520 feet in diameter, and they estimate that a total of 42,000 stones were piled up to make this whole complex.
Wow.
Okay, it's 3 circles around a central hill, also man-made, that maybe seem to orient to the layout of the stars. But no one really has a clear answer as to what it is. Now, the Bible provides an interesting indication of giants that roamed in this land in Canaanite times. And I told you about the spies reporting about the giants living in this land. But in Deuteronomy, it even refers to the giants of the Bashan, which is the biblical name for this region, the Golan.
You told me to look up this verse. Let's see. It says, only Og, king of Bashan, was left of the remnant of the Rephites. His bed was made of iron and was more than 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide.
Exactly. 9 cubits. How much is a cubit? This is a cubit. It's a biblical measurement of the palm of your hand. Okay, 9 cubits combined is about the width of this circle. That's a big bed. You know, in America you have king size.
Bed, yeah.
This is an extra large king size bed that apparently Og, king of the Bashan, had. So the Bible reckons that there were giants living here. And is this connected to all of this?
And so when it comes to the rings, we don't know why they're concentric circles. That's an amazing fact of history that we don't have the facts.
Yes, all we have is a big mystery. And let me take you to the inner circle at the heart and see what's visible there and what can you make of it.
Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, ISIS. The same terrorist forces that seek to annihilate Israel have a bullseye on the back of the United States. At Christians United for Israel, we know that Israel's enemies and America's are one and the same. When Israel comes under attack, our nationwide network of over 7 million members leaps into action. We help lead the fights on Capitol Hill to pull out of the disastrous Iran nuclear deal, to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, and to cut funding to the Palestinian Authority over its use of American taxpayer dollars to fund terrorism. When CUFI speaks, Washington listens. And as radical forces threaten Israel and America, we need your help. To support the important work of Christians United for Israel, visit CUFI.org or call the phone number on your screen. When you defend Israel, you're defending America. So join our movement today.
Wow, so Danny, we're inside this incredible structure. Is this like a big tomb?
That's exactly the mystery. We are inside the Holy of Holies of these set of circles. This pile of rocks proves to contain this big hole inside, which, by the way, is maybe 7,000 years old. We're counting on an engineering project from such a long time ago.
We hope he did a good job, otherwise we're not in good shape.
It's all dry construction. There's no bonding material, and it's this giant slab of stone over our heads, which is holding it all from burying us.
This stone is gigantic.
It is.
And people, I don't know how you could even potentially lift that, you know, a couple hundred years ago, but let alone thousands.
That's the mystery. How could people in a prehistorical stage move and shape and place such giant stones? And what was the function of this? So one theory suggests it's a tomb. The others say, no, it's a place to present offerings. It's just a big mystery. I have a friend from the Israel Antiquities Authority, Uri, which came to see us here today, which I heard before coming to shooting that they're actually planning to improve this place and make it more accessible. Okay, let's have a chat with him.
All right, let's do it. Well, Uri, thanks for coming all the way out here to join us. Tell us more about the land of the giants, if you will.
As you can notice right across your shoulder, there are several other dolmens, tumuli, piles of stone that were built by ancient civilization more than 4,000 years ago, yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of in every direction you see something.
Yeah, over there, they're like dolmens, they call them tank dolmens because people that just arrived here, archaeologists, thought at the beginning that they were like tanks that were left here from war. But as they came on closer, they saw there are massive stones like the ones that you have here.
So you have Mount Tabor over there. You have Mount Hermon over there. You have the Sea of Galilee down there. You have somewhere over there where there's the Decapolis. I mean, you can kind of see a good chunk of the Bible from this little mount, right?
Yeah, and for even in biblical times, this place was here. So they went all around with their herds or just kept on going from one side to the other. They saw this site. They saw this monumental element. They saw all the thousands of dolmens and piles of stone, the tumuli that we have here. And I don't know if I mentioned before that there are more than 5,000 of them all around here, just in the Golan Heights.
Uri, Danny the Digger, can't thank you guys enough. This was incredible.
Thanks again to Watchman correspondent Raj Nair and our good friend Danny the Digger Herman for that amazing story that you just won't see anywhere else. Well, up next, my final thoughts on yet another archaeological mystery in Israel. Did the Dead Sea Scrolls have a link to John the Baptist? Danny the Digger is back after the break with the answer. Don't move.
God has appointed watchmen over the people of Israel to pray, to petition on their behalf, and to provide protection wherever possible. Christians United for Israel is committed to fulfilling this God-given mandate. This holiday season, you can join us in this special calling. For your gift of any amount, we'll send you this beautiful Kufi Christmas ornament, handmade in Israel. This one-of-a-kind ornament features the Jaffa Gate, the main entrance of the old city of Jerusalem, and is inscribed with Isaiah 62's Watchman on the Wall verse. For Zion's sake, we will not keep silent. Displaying this unique Christmas ornament on your tree this holiday season is a reminder of your faithful commitment to bless and defend Israel. Visit kufi.org/gift to receive your custom Kufi Christmas ornament today. Show your friends and family members this Christmas that you stand with Israel as a faithful watchman on the wall.
And welcome back. We're wrapping up this very special Watchman episode on the world's greatest archaeological mysteries with one you might not have heard of. Did the Dead Sea Scrolls, possibly the greatest archaeological discovery of all time, have a link to John the Baptist? Our good friend Danny the Digger Herman joined us on the Jordan River at the very spot where Jesus was baptized by John to find out the answer. Take a look. Right now you may hear behind us some people singing hymns. There's people over our shoulder here in the Jordan River getting baptized where Jesus was once baptized. Again, a very special place. But Danny, why are we here? What is the link from John the Baptist to the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Well, the tradition that this is the place goes years, centuries back. From the 4th century and on, Christians started coming here, arguing this is the very place. You have 200 kilometers to choose of. okay? But in the 1950s, the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls proving there's a link to John the Baptist seemed to indicate that that tradition is valid, is true, because it's a walking distance from the site.
It's not far from where we were investigating the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Maybe a 5 hours walk.
Sure.
John the Baptist may have been a member of that community, and they shared a lot of values, but on one thing they differed. The people of the Dead Sea Scrolls argued the water is used for purity. John the Baptist said, no, the water is to be used for redemption and for acceptance of the Messiah, which is soon to come. And on this issue, they had to separate. So he goes to his own water source, right here, and he starts baptizing people, telling them he's about to arrive. Yeah. And at some point, Jesus from the Galilee comes, and when he comes out of the water, a dove appears and a voice is heard, "This is my son who I have chosen."
Fascinating stuff, as always, with our good friend, Danny the Digger Herman. Well, that does it for episode 150 of The Watchman Show. We look forward to bringing you many more episodes in the years to come, so join our movement at Christians United for Israel. You see the URL, you see the phone number there on your screen. Call or click and join us today. For Zion's sake, we will not keep quiet. For Jerusalem's sake, we will not remain silent. That's who we are. That's what we do. So join us. Look for us across social media and check us out on YouTube, where we are bringing you exclusive content every single week. Thanks for joining us this week on this very special episode of The Watchman Show, number 150. Hard to believe. Many more to come. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.